What if I told you that America didn't just earn its power, it inherited it from the ground beneath its feet? Every time people say, America is falling apart, they forget one huge truth. The real reason the US became powerful in the first place has nothing to do with politics, and everything to do with geography. Because while governments change and economies rise and fall, the land never moves. And that land, the mountains, the rivers, and the coasts, has been quietly shaping America's destiny from day one. So, in this video, we're going to break down why America's geography gives it an advantage no other country can match, why countries like China, Russia, and even Africa, no matter how strong, are held back by the shape of their land. Even if the world changes, America's position on the map might keep it as the last true superpower. Let's start where it all begins, with the land itself, the game of civilization. Imagine history as a game, the game of civilization. Every nation is a player, but the board is the planet itself. Some start with lucky spots. Others have to fight uphill from the very beginning. Thousands of years ago, the first players stepped onto that board. They didn't have technology, trade, or maps, just the land under their feet. And that land decided who survived and who thrived. There were 6 major starting zones: the birthplaces of early civilization, Egypt along the Nile, Mesopotamia between the Tigris and Euphrates, the Indus Valley in India, China's Yellow River, the Almex in Mexico, and the Norte Chico in Peru. Each one had 3 basic needs: water for food, flat land for farming, and some kind of defense against invaders. That's it. 3 ingredients, and Egypt had them all. Egypt's lucky start. The Nile River was perfect. It flooded every year, right on schedule. Not too much, not too little. It made the soil rich, which meant steady food and stable growth. The land around it was flat and easy to travel, so people traded and built cities. And to the east and west were huge deserts, natural walls that kept enemies out. That's why Egypt lasted more than 3,000 years. That's longer than any other civilization in history. Their stability wasn't magic. It was the map, but as time went on, more people spread across the globe. Populations grew, empires fought, and suddenly, the game changed. The world gets crowded. By 1500, the world's population hit 500 million. By 1800, it reached 1 billion. By 1945, after 2 world wars, there were 3 billion people on Earth, and with more people came more power struggles. Nations wanted land, food, and security. But then came the nuclear age, and suddenly conquering neighbors wasn't worth the risk. Borders froze in place, and the world's geography lottery became permanent. Whoever had the best land kept it. And right at the top of that lottery was one clear winner: the United States of America, America's jackpot. When you look at a map of the US, it doesn't seem that special at first. But zoom out, and you realize it's one of the most naturally blessed pieces of land on Earth. The United States sits between 2 massive oceans, the Atlantic to the east and the Pacific to the west. It stretches across one of the widest and most fertile plains in the world, and running straight through it is a hidden superweapon, the Mississippi River Basin. This system of rivers, the Mississippi, Missouri, and Ohio, connects nearly every major farming and industrial region in the country, and the land is flat, meaning ships can move easily, in fact. America has more navigable rivers than the rest of the world combined. That means goods can travel thousands of miles for pennies, no need for expensive roads or fuel. This single advantage turned America into an economic engine unlike anything in history, the greatest deal ever made. And here's where the story gets crazy. In 1803, the US bought the Louisiana Territory from France for what would be about $340 million today. That land doubled the size of the young nation overnight. It included most of the Mississippi Basin and all the land that would become the Midwest, the breadbasket of the world. Today, that land is worth more than $60 trillion. That's a 17 million% return on investment. It's the best real estate deal ever made. Napoleon thought he was being clever, selling it to fund his wars against Britain. But in reality, France handed America the keys to future world dominance, because whoever controls that land, with its rivers, plains, and ports, controls the center of global trade. Ports, oceans, and protection. Now, let's talk about defense. The most powerful countries in history had to fight. Constantly to protect their borders, Russia gets invaded from the west, again and again. China faces threats on land and sea. But America? It's like living in a fortress, with an ocean on each side and friendly neighbors to the north and south. Those oceans, the Atlantic and Pacific, are more than just barriers. They're giant shields that make invasion almost impossible, and along those coasts are deep ice-free ports. New York, Boston, Baltimore, New Orleans, San Francisco, Los Angeles. Unlike Europe's ports, which often freeze in winter, America's stay open all year. That means constant trade, constant growth, and constant connection to the rest of the world safely. The age of safety. By the mid-1900s, after World War II, America had everything it needed: food, security, trade, and distance from danger. Europe was rebuilding. Asia was scarred, but the US was untouched, protected by geography once again, while cities across Europe lay in ruins. America's cities were booming. Factories turned from making tanks to making cars and washing machines. People were safe, rich, and ready to spend. That's how the US dollar replaced the British pound as the world's main currency. People trusted America because the land itself made it stable. And that brings us to an important truth. You can't buy geography. You're either born with it or you're not. The geography problem. Let's test that truth around the world. China, the blocked giant. China's massive, powerful, and rich, but trapped. It's surrounded by mountains to the west, deserts to the north, and an ocean that isn't truly open. Its coastline looks big, but its sea routes pass through narrow spaces like the South China Sea and the Strait of Malacca. About 80% of China's imported oil goes through that single narrow passage. If it's blocked, the country's economy could crash within weeks. That's why China is building highways and railroads through Pakistan and Myanmar to reach the Indian Ocean, without depending on the Pacific. It's smart, but it's also expensive and risky. Even then, China's Navy has to squeeze through narrow choke points just to reach open water. Meanwhile, the US can send ships freely in every direction: Atlantic, Pacific, or Gulf of Mexico. That's why the US Navy can be everywhere at once, and China can single quotes T.Africa, the land that should have won. Africa might be the biggest what-if in history. It's 4 times larger than Europe. It has more resources than almost anywhere else. Oil, gold, diamonds, fertile land. But geography keeps it divided. Its rivers, like the Congo and Niger, are long but brutal. They crash down waterfalls and rapids, making travel impossible. The Congo River alone becomes deadly, just 90 miles from the ocean, with massive whirlpools and standing waves taller than a house. That one feature cuts off Central Africa from the coast and from trade. The coastline itself is smooth, with few natural harbors or bays. That means fewer ports for ships, fewer trade routes, and slower development. Europe, on the other hand, is full of inlets and deep harbors, perfect for trade and exploration. That's why Europe sailed out to rule the world, while Africa, sadly, stayed isolated. Even today, Africa's size and wealth are enormous, but its geography still works against it. Russia, the country that never rests. Now look at Russia. It's massive, but that size is a curse. The land across its western border is flat and open. No natural barriers, no protection. That's why invaders like Napoleon and Hitler marched straight to Moscow with terrifying speed and Russia's coastline. It's either frozen or blocked. To reach warm waters, Russian ships have to pass through narrow straits controlled by other countries. That's why Russia clings so tightly to its few warm ports, like Tartus in Syria. The truth is, Russia will always feel unsafe. It's too exposed, too cold, and too flat. That constant fear shapes its politics, its wars, and its desire to control neighbors. Britain, when the sky stole the ocean. Britain once ruled the seas. Its island location made it easy to defend and perfect for building a navy. For centuries, that geography made it the world's first global superpower. But everything changed in one generation. When airplanes appeared, distance stopped mattering. The English Channel, once an unbeatable moat, could be crossed in minutes. During World War II, German bombers flew over that moat like it wasn't there. Technology erased Britain's natural advantage. After the war, investors started trusting the United States more than Britain. The dollar replaced the pound as the world's main currency. And America became the center of global power. The simple truth behind power: when you step back and look at all of history, one pattern jumps out. Geography decides opportunity. Egypt had the Nile, Britain had the seas, China had its rivers and mountains, and America has it all. It has the perfect mix of rivers, plains, ports, and protection. You can farm it, defend it, and trade from it, all with minimal effort. It's like the world's easy mode. That doesn't mean America has no problems. It means that when things go wrong, recessions, wars, political fights, the land itself keeps giving the country a second chance. Because while empires collapse when they run out of food, safety, or trade, America has all three built in. Why it still matters today: some people think geography doesn't matter anymore. That technology replaced it. We have planes, satellites, and the internet, right? But even today, every ship carrying your phone, your food, or your car parts travels through physical choke points, straits, canals, ports, and who controls those oceans? Mostly the US Navy. That's geography, just with modern tools, even energy and internet cables. The things that power our modern world run under the oceans America guards. So while the rules of power have evolved, the foundation hasn't changed. And that's why, when people say America's in decline, they often forget that power isn't just about what's happening today, it's about what's possible tomorrow. And geography makes almost anything possible. Why America will stay on top. Let's bring this all together. If you asked one simple question, who has the best land on Earth? The answer explains the last 100 years of history. The US scores a perfect 10 on every measure that matters. Can you feed your people? Yes. The Mississippi Basin and the Great Plains make America one of the most self-sufficient nations on Earth. Can you defend yourself? Absolutely. 2 oceans, friendly neighbors, and thousands of miles between potential enemies. Can you trade freely with the world? Yes again. Deep water ports on both coasts, year-round access, and control of global sea routes. No other country can say yes to all 3. China can feed itself, but can't trade freely. Russia can defend itself, but can't reach the oceans. Africa has resources, but can't connect them. America, by pure geographic luck, checks every box. That's why talk of its decline has been around for almost a century. And yet, here it still stands, stronger than ever, until something changes about the land itself. Until the rivers dry up, the coasts sink, or the continents move, America's foundations stay unshakable. So the next time someone says, America's days are over, remember, empires rise and fall because of the land they're built on. Egypt had the Nile, Britain had the sea, and America, it has all of it: rivers, ports, farmland, and oceans that keep it safe. Geography doesn't guarantee perfection, but it guarantees possibility. And that's why America isn't just another powerful country, it's the last superpower standing on the world's best stage. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Do you think geography still decides who wins in today's world? Because one thing's for sure, the map still matters.